It is angle side angle.
Rip.
Wait, did I put D or B?
No, it's not angle side angle. No, don't erase yours. Yours is correct. I thought you changed yours.
It's not angle side angle?
No.
Angle side.
Hang on. Let's go through it. Let's go through it.
We're teaching side angle.
Take that back.
It's still the bad word.
So I'll draw my triangles. There are definitely questions like this on the test, so make sure you're paying attention so you know how to get it right. And then the other triangle. So I drew them as is. I didn't change anything. I just pulled them apart. That's A. That's E. That's B. This is A, D, C. And then you put down the information that's already given. And it said that C is congruent to B. It also gave you these little sections are congruent. So AE is congruent to AD. And then the only thing I know is A overlaps A. So the only work I had to do was to say that A was congruent to A, which becomes angle, angle, side. Now you have to list it correctly. So it says A, B, E. Well, it must start with A, because A is the same angle as A. And then it should go, well, this one says go to B. So I got to find the one that's the same as B, and that's C. So it's A, C, and as soon as you got 2, you know the third one is D. And that is going to be by angle, angle, side, or side, angle, angle. I don't care what order you put it in. It's going to be our angle, angle, side. So it is going to be C. Sabrina.
I was just making sure mine came out as
You had it right.
C, 'cause, yeah, I just...
Yep, you had it right. All right, the other best answer that people gave, majority of us said B. So at least we got the right triangle. Whoa, yeah.
So I suppose what I thought was, so you know that angle A is going to be congruent to itself because of the reflexive property.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just did then I looked at it and saw that it was angle side angle. So what? So it's because it's flipped the wrong way. Is that why that didn't work?
Did you draw your two triangles separated?
Yes.
So wouldn't this side be congruent?
Oh.
See the individual. So
Sorry,
it would have to be angle. What you did, you saw angle, side, angle up here. But it's when it's separated, that's when you have to decide whether it's angle, side, angle, or.
I'm
Yeah.
just confused, like, I put, A, like, you know how there's, AE is congruent to AD? The line?
Hey, say that again?
AE is congruent to AD?
Yeah.
I put that, like, I thought the line meant AC and AB.
Oh.
So how do you not know when it's not?
You're going to look at this. Look where it tries to put it right in the middle.
Okay,
What
so
would
it's
it look like if it
because because like if it was in the middle, it could have been A. It could have been.
If it was A to C,
Yeah,
A
it
to
could've
C,
been.
then it'd be angle, side. I see it. I see what you mean.
I think that's why some people.
Yeah. I see that. But on the test, I wouldn't give you credit for that.
Okay.
So just ask. On the test, just ask what part I'm talking about. All right? If especially when it's like this, it tries to put it as close to the middle as it can. So you know it's these two. So it's not the full length, but just ask. If you're not sure if it's the whole length or part of a length, just ask. Doesn't hurt to ask. I'll take that into account too. Just make sure you do your drawings. Because Grace, on the test, on your drawing, you might have, if you would have did that and that, I would have known what you saw.
Yeah.
And then I would know what you're thinking. I'd probably give you full points for that. But just ask.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions on this one? Okay, then let's quickly go through the lesson and then we'll ask questions from the homework. Today's lesson is super long and the homework is super long to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Or is that a joke?
Look at it.
Well, it's one question still.
It's a little complicated. That one question can take a little bit. I did put the self-test as part of homework because you might get done early. The whole goal is people that are in the play, hopefully they don't have a ton of homework. All right? But it doesn't hurt to do those self-tests. Either you do them this weekend or you do them on Monday. Just They're printed out for you. They're in there. They're not the homework, but it's a good idea to at least try them. All right. So, this is using other triangles to find information about other triangles. It sounds a little convoluted, but sometimes I can prove something with one triangle that helps me prove something that's in another triangle. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So it says given angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, and angle 5 is congruent to angle 6. So what I want to prove, let me color it in really quick. What I want to prove is basically that angle 3 and angle 4 are perpendicular, that they're right angles. All right, once more I'll do it with the other line. So we're talking about AC and BD, and our goal is to say those are perpendicular. Well, to do that, let's just think backwards. Let's think what we need and what we can use to prove that. So I kind of walk us through this one. I said to prove that AC is perpendicular to BD, we need to show what? What do we need to show about 3 and 4? Yes? That they're congruent. Perfect. I thought you were going to say equal to 90 degrees, but congruent is a much better statement. I need to show that angle 3 is congruent to angle 4, and then we're done. Because theorem 2.5 says if two intersecting angles are congruent, then they are in fact perpendicular to each other. All right. So to prove, I don't know why I put a blank here, it's kind of unnecessary, I guess. I guess so you couldn't look down and cheat it. To prove angle 3 and angle 4 are congruent, we need to show that. Amber, you got the last one. What do you think?
Angle 3 and angle 4 are equal to 90 degrees.
Not quite. It has something to do with triangles. Think of Kapukataka.
Triangle ABC equals ADC.
How about ABO?
Oh, I didn't see.
Because ABC wouldn't give me 3, right? If angle ABO was equal to ADO, I could use Kapukataka to say that 3 and 4 are congruent to each other. Do we see that? So my goal would be to prove that ABO, triangle ABO, is congruent to triangle ADO. And that would be a super easy thing to prove, except they don't give me enough information. Because what we know about ABO and ADO, these are the bits of information we know from the given. First thing, so we're looking at these triangles. Let me color them in green. Let me use some green because they're great. I'm talking about this triangle, and I'm talking about this triangle right now. From the given, I know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. I know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So let's go ahead and mark that up there. I put those on there. The other given is angle 5 and angle 6, so that doesn't help with those two triangles. However, what else do I know about it?
Line AO is equal to line AO.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, reflexive property tells me that AO is congruent to AO. And maybe I'll put reflexive, because that's always good to know. Reflexive. Yeah, Amber, I think.
Could you extend that to say AC is congruent to AC?
Absolutely we could, and we're going to. We're going to, because you're just jumping ahead of me. So I currently have an angle and a side. What else do I need to prove that those two triangles are congruent? If I have an angle and a side. Yes? I need another angle. The reason why we might not be going to the other angle, because if I could prove these two things were congruent, I wouldn't even need to do the proof. So you said what's the other option?
Couldn't you also use side another side?
Another side. if I just knew AB was congruent to AD, I'd have side, angle, side. I would say these two are congruent, and then by corresponding parts of congruent triangles, these two things would be congruent. So what do we need in order to prove this is equal to that? Is we need that side, we need AB is congruent to AD. Now, how can we prove that AB is congruent to AD? And Amber started us on that. Yes?
Or if you extend the line to the basically we know that one is two and side is six, so it's a three triangle. Those are congruent. Using CTC, you can say those lines are the same.
You mean kapatkaka? I think I said it wrong that time. All right, but yeah. So we also know that 5 is congruent to 6. So what Abby said is basically extend this, talk about the big triangle, say this big triangle is congruent to this big triangle, and then by CPCTC, this segment congruent to that segment, which would then prove that this triangle is congruent to this triangle, which would then say that 3 is congruent to 4. So that is how we use another triangle to prove another part of a triangle. So in short, in order to make this happen, we need to say that triangle ABC is congruent to a triangle ADC. And that's kind of the way we walk through this entire proof. You look at what you need, what triangles can help you get there, what triangles you need. So that's the easiest way to do these problems. So let's go through the proof of it. So we have angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, angle 5 is congruent to angle... I got this one, it's given. That was mine. All right, it's your turn. AC is congruent to AC, Robin? Reflexive property. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ADC.
Angle side angle.
It is angle, side, angle. Because once again, if I look at this, the big triangle, angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle, cool, 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 cool. Cool, cool, cool. How is AD congruent to AB then? Yeah.
CPCTC.
What?
CPCTC.
Still not sure.
Kapatka.
Oh, there. I never get it.
No, I can't.
Kapukachka. Okay.
We'll use acronyms.
All right. So we have AD is congruent to AB. Now I have AO is yes. Whoa. I gotta pick you then. What is it? Reflexive. Oh man, if you got that wrong. That is definitely reflexive property. Now we have triangle ABO is congruent to ADO. ABO is congruent to ADO. Oh no. Oh no. You already had one. Someone knew. Someone knew. Someone hasn't answered. Come on, guys. Go big or go home. No one? It'd be side angle side, yes. It'd be side angle side because we just proved that AB was congruent to AD for a reason. We proved that AO is congruent to AO, and we know these two angles, so it's going to be side angle side. Sabrina?
I got HL.
It is side angle side. We can't use HL because we don't know it's 90 degrees. We're trying to prove it's 90 degrees.
Oh.
The only time you can use HL is if we know for a fact it's 90 degrees, then we can use HL.
So would the next step be that?
We would never use HL.
Oh.
Because we are just trying to prove those two things are 90 degrees. So I'm not going to use the fact that they're 90 degrees to prove that they're congruent. You have to know there has to be 90 degrees on here for you to use HL. Akshay? Oh, you got the next one? Yeah. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 by CPCTC. And our final step says A...
Do you say it?
Say it right.
Kapukachika?
Ka.
Kapukachika. Okay. AC is perpendicular to BD. Yep.
Theorem 2.5.
Theorem 2.5. It was.
Painful.
All right, the homework is super long. It is, in fact, that one problem.
Wait, can you take one problem off the homework, please? It's just too long.
Just,
I think it's
can you just take off one problem off the homework?
Yeah.
Um,
All I